So I really don't know what it is, but I like obscure things. And when I'm talking about watches here on this channel and I look at the landscape of what other people on YouTube are doing, I always see the common players always getting showcased on a lot of different channels. So what I want to do with today's video, and what's going on everybody, my name is Teddy Baldassarre. What I want to do with today's video is talk about some micro brands and if micro brands are a great option for you as a consumer when you're looking for your next watch. So we'll be looking at the pros and cons of micro brands, going over that at the beginning. In addition to that, we'll be looking at about 10 micro brands and watches specifically from those brands that I think you should just at least be aware of. They might not be the watch for you, they might be the watch for you, but we'll be taking a little bit deeper look at them. And then lastly, before we jump into this video, guys, I have a form down below, and one of my biggest dreams for this channel is to always remain authentic with my content, never have to have sponsored content ever be featured to make money doing what I love, and that is making content for you guys. So in order to fulfill that dream, I need to find other ways to make money, and one way I'm thinking about doing that is starting a whole line of watch straps. And I have some different concepts that I've been working on with a manufacturer. If you guys can go down in the forum, give me your thoughts on this initial first batch, I'd really appreciate it. There's gonna be another batch that we're gonna feature on another forum in the future, but please, if you could fill that out, I'd really appreciate it. It'll just take a couple minutes, and I would always love your guys' feedback, regardless if it's my videos and any other endeavors that I'm chasing. But guys, without further ado, let's jump into the video. So just a couple things before we go ahead and look at these micro brands. I think it's important to think about the cons that come with micro brands, because there certainly are some. So just a couple things to consider. You're going to have to bite the bullet when it comes to usually higher prices from micro brands. They don't have the infrastructure to mass produce products, and that usually leads to inflated prices. In a lot of cases, they're just inflating their prices in general because they just need to cover their margins. So that's just something to consider. I think there is an understanding of that, but I think we have the right to be skeptical of these brands. And in addition to that, we have to look at these movements. In a lot of cases, a lot of these brands are selling themselves a little bit bigger than what they actually are. In other words, they try to attach story and heritage, when in reality, these are just brands that just got up and running. They don't have the same heritage, and they shouldn't try to say that they have heritage. A lot of cases are just third-party movements, and I personally think that's okay. If you're slapping in an ETA movement, a Solita movement in a watch that is under $1,000, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. I just want authenticity with these micro brands. I think it's just something to consider before. So just have the right intention when you're going for micro brands. If you're looking for the best deal out there, I don't think these are the best places to look. But that said, you can get some really cool designed watches, and I think they're really tasteful, and it is fun. It is fun as an enthusiast to look and shop from these brands. So guys, though, let's jump into this list for today and take a look at some micro brands. First up, we have a brand, Martenero, and we're gonna be looking at their Kerrison 38mm. So this company started back in early 2014 and is based in New York City. The Kerrison watch comes in with several different dial colors and actually comes in with two different sizes for the case size as well. A 38mm, which of course I would rather go for with my smaller wrist, or a 42mm case. The case is stainless steel and comes with a sapphire crystal on the front and back. I don't know if the back is actually necessary because it is just featuring a Miyota 9015 movement. It is certainly not a bad movement, but it does not beseech the attention with its visual appearance, let's just say that. Nevertheless, the watch I think has a tasteful dial, is water resistant up to 50 meters, and retails just under $1,000. Next up, we have a watch brand that I think really does deliver some pretty solid value, and that is Damasko. And we're gonna be looking at the DS30. So these watches are constructed in Germany, and staying true to German form, they have a very utilitarian type aesthetic. These watches retail just under €1,000. However, they will be more if you're shipping to the US. These watches specifically have a 39mm case, are powered by an ETA 2836-2 self-winding mechanical movement, and are water resistant up to 100 meters. And to be honest, if you're looking for a nice German watch, especially that tool-like aesthetic, I think these are great watches to take a look at, so definitely check out Damasko. So next up, we have a Swedish micro brand, and that is Braver. And the specific watch from them, what we're gonna be looking at is the BW003S. So I think this watch has a unique looking design. I do think the uniqueness will turn into polarization. I think the watch has tasteful proportions, a very strange but intriguing date window, and hollowed out hands. This watch retails for $1,300 US, which I know some people are going to be screaming and running for the hills when they hear that. Has a 39mm case and is powered by an automatic SW3001 Sellita movement. So I wanted to feature this watch since I think it is unique looking, but I'm not sure it does have the best value. Nevertheless, I think it's an interesting watch. I think you should check it out, just take a look at it, but I can definitely see there might be some mixed feelings about this one. Now another really interesting brand, and that is Oak and Oscar, and we're gonna be looking at the Jackson. This is really their flagship watch. So these watches are actually based in the Midwest, like myself, but they are based in Chicago, Illinois. So the watch comes in with 3 different dial colors, and I think they're all very tasteful. You really can't go wrong, while also offering a PVD version. The watch comes in 40mm case, a sapphire crystal, and is powered, interestingly enough, by an Eterna 39 manual movement. And however, the movement is actually not the issue that I have with this watch. The Eterna 39 is actually a pretty highly respected movement when you're at least comparing it as a viable alternative to ETA counterparts. These watches are rather expensive, so they are retailing around $3,000. They are in limited supply. I do think the watches are beautiful, but I think there is some things to consider here. You have to really love this watch to want to buy it. I'm not going to, bash this watch anymore because I do think there is some value here, but to the point in which I would recommend buying it, I don't know. I don't know if it's for me, but I think for the right person out there, there is somebody that, think this is a viable option for them when they're thinking about maybe buying a chronograph in this price range. Next up, we have a racing inspired watch, and that is the Belmoto Tourer. So you have 3 dial variations for this watch, but personally, I like the double black version. This watch, again, has a beautiful racing-like aesthetic that I think is incredibly cool. It also comes in at around $700, is automatically powered again by a Miyota 9015 movement. This watch also comes in with a 42mm case and is water resistant up to 200 meters. There's something about these race-like watches in this price range, especially the micro brand space, that I think is really cool. And I think Belmoto is doing a really good job here when it comes to the design elements and really being authentic with their branding. Now we're heading back to New York City for another micro brand, and one of my favorite of the bunch mentioned on this list, and that is the Proto HP1. Personally, I really like the square case of this watch and its clean dial. They come in at just under $500 and they're in very limited supply. Actually, as I'm currently posting this video, they're out of stock. I am not sure when they're gonna be restocked in the future, but these watches come in with a sapphire crystal, a 38mm case, and are water resistant up to 100 meters. And the watches are powered by actually a Seiko movement, automatic movement. They're NH35A. Now we have one of probably the most popular micro brands. I think so much so that I don't think they'll be really considered a micro brand much longer if they keep up what they're doing, and that is Autodromo. So I have mentioned Autodromo on my channel several times, and the watch that I've always mentioned is their Group B automatic. I think these are really tasteful watches. I think they have unique designs. The watches, interestingly, don't have any room for spring bars. It only has a small slit between the lugs for a racing strap. They are water resistant up to 50 meters. They come in right around $900, have a 39mm case, and are powered by a Miyota 9015 automatic movement. Next, we have another favorite on this channel, one that I've mentioned several times, one being for best watches between $300 and $1,000, and also my video that I did for the best summer watches. If you haven't checked out those videos, be sure to check them out on the channel. I'll put them down in the description as well. But we are talking about the Halios Seaforth. So this watch brand has become, it was originally underappreciated, but I think it's become very appreciated for those that are aware of them. So these watches come in at just under $700 and are automatically powered by an ETA 28-24-2 movement, are water resistant up to 200 meters. And the really interesting thing about this watch is just the versatility, the amount of options that you have with these watches, not only with the dial colors, but also with the bezels. So you have 3 different bezel options, as well as several different dial colors. The bezels are going to affect the size of the watch. They either come in with a 40 millimeter case or a 41 millimeter case with the bezel. So if you're looking for a micro brand that I think just epitomizes doing the job right, authenticity, not overselling any gimmicks or anything else, putting a solid ETA movement at, I think, a very reasonable price, this is what you want to look at. This is the Halios Seaforth. The only problem with these watches that I can say is they're hard to get your hands on. They're always out of stock. You have to pre-order them and wait several months, but I think they're definitely worth it. They are truly some beautiful looking watches. Now we have another second timer on the channel, the Baltic Bicompax 001. So these watches, again, a beautiful looking watch, just like many of the micro brands that I've mentioned here so far. This watch is a vintage inspired chronograph. It comes in at just around $700, has a 38 millimeter case. And as much as I love the design of these watches, I think the price point is a little steep considering the movement is a Venus 175 caliber. So this is a Chinese made movement. They are encased in France, all of these watches, and I do think they are really tasteful when it comes to their design. So I think you can make the excuse for buying them. That said, I think they are beautiful watches, and if you are in the market to check out a chronograph in this price range, I think you should check out Baltic. So last but not least, we have the Eza Sealander. So I reached out to a lot of these brands that were on this list to see if I could get my hands on some of these watches to do a review or just feature them in this video. I was letting them know that I was gonna feature on my channel a nice list of micro brands to check out. And Eza, they were nice enough to send me one of their watches just to take a look at, and I have to say, I was really impressed with this watch. Always, I enjoyed the look of this watch. I think it definitely inspired some aesthetic from some classics like the 50 Fathoms, Omega Seedmaster, and the Mill Sub, but I think it manages to have its own unique look. The watch is automatic and is powered by an ETA 2824 movement, has a 41 millimeter case, and retails just around $800 to $900 depending on where you live. So I was really just kind of blown away with the presentation, like the box that it comes with. Although I don't try to put too much weight in that because I don't get to wear the box that the watch is sent with me everywhere. But I will say that I have purchased watches that are triple, if not more, the value of this watch, and some of them don't even have the same presentation as this. So I will give it to them. They did a really good job. I don't know if they're just catering to me because I have a YouTube channel with an audience, but really great looking watches. I think the value is there. With an ETA movement. Originally, these didn't come with an ETA movement, but they were open to feedback based on a lot of the discussion boards and YouTube comments, and they did change. They had a lower caliber movement in there in the past, but really good to see them adapt. So Eza watches, if you are looking for a micro brand that you maybe want to take a look at for under $1,000, you're looking for a dive watch. These are water resistant up to 300 meters. Definitely check them out. Take a look at them. I think they're vintage inspired aesthetic. Beautiful in my mind, and I think you might enjoy them as well. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe. Also hit that bell icon. Definitely leave comments down below. I want to hear what you think about these watches. Would you buy some? Would you not buy some? And until next time, guys, be well, and I will see you all very soon.